All right, welcome everyone to the Haney podcast here on nofilter.net. Great to be with you today. The Haney podcast is brought to you by haneyuniversity.com. That's my website. Find out information about golf lessons from me. Find out information about my online lessons that, from what I understand, are supposed to be going up live any day, maybe today. We will see. And you can also find out information about the Hank Haney Golf Studio. Almost open. Actually, I've been teaching over there in Deerfield, Illinois, and it is a thing of beauty. But it has been quite a story getting that open. So I'll save that for another podcast. But today, what I want to talk about is the latest news that has come out with the Public Investment Fund, which is the Saudis who own the LIV Tour and the PGA Tour. A lot of buzz going around. Of course, you remember a few weeks ago or a month ago, they had the big meeting at the White House. Tiger Woods, Jay Monahan, commissioner of the PGA Tour, Adam Scott, one of the representatives for the PGA Tour, and the president, Donald Trump, all got together with Yasser Al-Rahmanin, who is the head of the Public Investment Fund, and the LIV is his baby. So they got together there, and I think that most people thought, and I certainly did, that coming out of that meeting, there would be some kind of something that happened. Donald Trump would talk him into something. Well, I guess it didn't happen. And when they interviewed Trump about it, President Trump said that the deal, to put this deal together, might be more complicated than stopping a war or something to that effect. So it didn't look too good. Now there's all kinds of reports coming out that the PGA Tour feels good about their position. Like all of a sudden they're feeling great. Like they felt threatened. They felt like they needed to make a settlement, come together with LIV. LIV was going to put in $1.5 billion. Now all of a sudden PGA Tour feels great. You listen to Jay Monahan, the commissioner, everything's great. They're in the driver's seat. And it seems like this is not going to happen. That's my take on it. So the latest is the LIV Public Investment Fund made an offer to the PGA Tour. This is by reports that I've been reading, and they offered $1.5 billion investment in the new PGA Tour Enterprises company. They're splitting off two companies on the PGA Tour. They got the one that gives all the money to charity, and the other company is going to be a for-profit company, and that one is the one that all the other investors have invested in, all the baseball owners, strategic investments or whatever they're calling that thing. So they were going to invest 1.5 billion, and for that they want a couple things. This is based on articles that are coming out. They want the LIV to stay put, and they want it to operate as is. This is Yasser Al-Rahmanin's baby, okay? And then the second thing they want is they want Yasser to have a seat on the board, like he's going to be co-chairman. That's what he wants, I guess. And then the news came out that that was turned down by the PGA Tour. Now, if they were negotiating, my opinion is if they were negotiating, they wouldn't have thrown that out to the media. The corrupt golf media loves everything that's anti-LIV. They wouldn't have thrown that out to put that all over ESPN and all over the internet and all over X and everywhere. They would have just kept going with their negotiation. So my take is that PGA Tour now thinks that they're all of a sudden they're holding all the cards. I guess they think the TGL, the Tiger Indoor Golf League, went really good, and that's got good potential for next year. There was some report that somebody wanted to buy a team for $77 million. I don't know how in the world they're ever going to get that money back. I don't know. But I was a fan of the TGL. I think it's good. I mean, I think they need to, golf needs to diversify from just the same old golf tournaments. And that's what LIV does. And LIV is a worldwide tour. And there needs to be a worldwide tour. Now, the problem is, They've had trouble getting traction, and this is their fourth year. Now, are they doing good for a tour, a worldwide sports league that has only been around 3 years? I think they're probably doing great. Supposedly, the Saudis have invested $5 billion in this so far. Now, if they put another $1.5 billion into the PGA Tour, all of a sudden they've got an investment in the PGA Tour, and they've spent $6.5 billion. And if they just shut the LIV, how do they ever get their money back? I don't think they do. So now everybody's at a crossroads. PGA Tour thinks they don't need LIV. LIV, probably doesn't want to start feeding more money into the public investment fund. They want to start feeding another couple billion into LIV. But who knows where this thing's going to go? LIV's got the new commissioner, Scott Neal. He came from the Madison Square Garden background in NHL, NBA, NFL. He's been around, the sports leagues, never run one before, but been around them. Seems to know what he's doing. Patient guy. Thoroughly impressed by Yasser. And he seems really committed. Now, this is the first week they've got a tournament on TV that's on Fox, like the real Fox. So we'll see what happens. The media keeps ripping LIV and not getting any ratings, but yet the commissioner of LIV is saying, or CEO is saying, no, we got 2.5 million viewers when we played over in Saudi Arabia. Their viewership is coming all over the world. The corrupt golf media keeps talking about how LIV doesn't have anybody watching it. They throw out these numbers. I mean, LIV's playing in the middle of the night live. I mean, that's not going to work. You're not going to draw numbers in the United States, but they feel good about their distribution. So who knows? Who knows what's going on with this thing? But here are some of the interesting facts that LIV was throwing out. There's their tournaments, and they really view themselves as like that, F1, like the motor racing. They view themselves like that, like a worldwide sports league. That's what they're not like a United States sports league. They're a worldwide sports league. And they say that at their tournaments, 30% of the people that come to their tournaments, and they do a lot of surveying at these tournaments, 30% have never been to a golf tournament before. That seems very, very high. That seems like a very good thing. 40% of the people that come to those golf tournaments are female. That's very, very high compared to the PGA Tour. So that seems like a very, very good thing, because everybody that's talking about growing the game of golf talks about getting more women involved in the game of golf. So obviously getting them out to see an LIV golf tournament would be a good thing. The next thing is that the LIV tournaments, they have an average age of a spectator is 15 years younger than the PGA Tour. That's significant. So those are all great things, and they've got younger people, females, first time golf tournament goers. I mean, that is all really, really good stuff. So I'm not really sure why the PGA Tour wouldn't want to do something with that, but what they really seem to be stuck up on is they just want LIV to go away. And I don't think that's going to happen. So now what's going to happen? This year goes by. LIV's going to see how they do with the TV. The first tournament at Doral is going to be on Fox, Big Fox, and we'll see if they get anybody watching it. They're going to talk about keep working on their worldwide distribution and see if they can put something good together with that. But the media, and especially the corrupt golf media, jumps on anything they can to pounce on LIV and just be negative about it. And so the latest thing that they've been negative about is they did a little pre-tournament interview. There was Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau, and I forget who else. Those are the two that they really talked to at this little, media gathering. They were talking to Bryson DeChambeau, and he's talking about how he thought LIV was doing, really good. They're making headway. They feel good about being a worldwide. It was all positive. And then, he mentioned about, maybe something a little bit about like where they were, where they thought they would be. And of course, everybody, no matter where you are, you would hope to be better. I mean, it's like when I give a golf lesson, everybody I teach, gets better. Maybe it doesn't reach their expectations of where they thought they were going to get better, but maybe that's because they have a mountain to climb and they didn't realize how big the mountain was, or they didn't realize how steep the mountain was. I mean, of course, everybody would like to do better. I mean, I'd like to do better. I'd like to do better at everything I do, but we are where we are, and LIV is doing like pretty good for 3 years, pretty good. So they jump off at DeChambeau, and they said at the last second, they just got a little minute left or a half a minute left. They jump over to Brooks Koepka, and this is how the golf media, the corrupt golf media, works. I mean, it's just all fake news, and it's just the way they do things. So they jump over to Koepka and they say, what do you think? And he said, well, we'd hoped we would be better off at this point. Well, of course he does. Everybody does. I mean, I'm sure they're disappointed that they haven't sold all these team names and sponsorships. And I was dubious on that from the beginning, even though I'm a big LIV fan. But they haven't signed up the sponsors like they hoped they would or thought they could. Okay. But they've only been doing this for 3 years, and they got a big, big pocketbook. They got a lot of oil over there to keep feeding this thing. And, most people would have probably thrown in the towel by now, but they got a lot of money. They can hang in there. So Koepka said that, and that's the first thing you see just blasted everywhere. Brooks Koepka, because of course Koepka's the guy they're rumoring to be, maybe wanting to go back to PGA Tour. I don't think he wants to go back to PGA Tour. I mean, does he want to do better at LIV? Yeah. Does he like to negotiate every single thing? Yeah. You sign Brooks Koepka, and you're going to get a lukewarm endorsement no matter what you sign him for, and that's what they got from day one. At LIV, that's what they got. I mean, he's just not going to he's not a Bubba Watson, Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, total team player. It's just, he's not. I mean, I don't think it comes as any surprise to anybody. He's going to say because he doesn't have a contract for next year. Supposedly his contract's running out, or maybe it's got one more year. I don't know. I'm sure he'd like to get an extension, or he'd like to, get more money. Why wouldn't he? But I don't know why anybody that is eligible for major championships would want to go back to the PGA Tour. Why would you want to do that? I don't see anybody on the PGA Tour that's dying to play more. The tournaments on the PGA Tour are as meaningless as the tournaments are on the LIV Tour. I mean, there's 4 major tournaments. That's it. Masters is coming up next week. That's the one that, that's the first tournament of the year. I mean, the Players was nice. I watched it. That got my interest a little bit. And some of this stuff, this golf is hard to watch. I don't know how the PGA Tour thinks, this is just, we're just doing great and everything's just, kumbaya. Now everybody's going to, get together, and it's just not going to be. I mean, even if you let everybody come back, I don't think Cam Smith has any desire to play more tournaments. I don't think Dustin Johnson has any more desire to play any more tournaments. I don't think, Koepka probably couldn't care less either way, except for the major tournaments. That's what he always said to begin with. Would DeChambeau and a couple other guys, I mean, would they, play a few more extra tournaments if they could? I mean, they probably would, but what difference is that? If I'm the PGA Tour and I'm thinking, what difference is it going to make? Is it going to really make that big of a difference if Bryson DeChambeau plays 3 of our tournaments, or Brooks Koepka plays 2 or 3 of our tournaments? I mean, everybody wants to have the best players playing together. but you know what? A lot of the best players aren't even playing any good. And a lot of the best players or better known names, they're kind of things aren't looking great for them. I mean, some of these guys haven't played very good this year on either tour. I mean, that's on either tour. Scheffler's yet to win. Dustin Johnson's shot a lot high numbers over on LIV. I mean, it's not like DeChambeau is just, running over everybody out there and winning tournaments. I mean, there is no like who's the big name, hot name on any tour in the world right now? It's Rory, and we'll see what happens at the Masters. But I just don't I don't see the end in sight here. I really don't. I think that LIV, team golf, worldwide golf. I'm probably more into worldwide golf than team golf. I mean, I think the team golf is all right. I mean, I kind of like the TGL. I kind of like the LIV. I mean, there's something there. I don't know if it's in its current form, but I think there's something there. But you know what? They need to figure it out. They have to restructure this thing some way. And I think it looks like now that they're just going to, PGA Tour is just going their own way. We don't need you guys, LIV, unless you want to just, give us $1 billion, give us $1.5 billion, get rid of your LIV, and give us $1.5 billion, and we'll let those guys come back. Well, I mean, they're not going to do that. You make that kind of offer when you don't want them to accept the offer, and that's what they've done. They made an offer that they don't want accepted, and then they're not trying to negotiate. They're not trying to make a deal. They're not trying to bring the better players together. They're just trying to get you to go away, give us some money, go away, and we'll let those guys come back. And we only want a few of them anyways, because they really don't care about the other guys. And LIV's sitting there, and they're thinking, well, we got to sign some of these guys, or we got to do something. And should we give these guys $1.5 billion, or should we take the $1.5 billion and get some more players, re-up guys, get rid of some guys, get some new guys? And I think that's a big possibility too, because what they could do is they could take that money, they could divvy it up, that $1.5 billion they want to give the PGA Tour, or if the PGA Tour doesn't seem to want, they could take that money, they could buy some more big names, re-up some of the big names they got, and get rid of some of the older guys that aren't performing, and bring in some more of these guys. There's plenty of these guys. There's plenty of guys. Plenty of guys on the PGA Tour that have a name, that haven't played any good in quite a while, and they could reload the LIV could reload their stock full of those guys, because there are plenty of those guys out there, and there always will be. There always will be. They can make a name on the PGA Tour. Now we got a little bit of a name, kind of back into your career. We'll bring them out here. He'll play good for a couple of years. Then a couple of years will be a little slow, but we'll be done with him. We'll bring in the next guy, and we don't have to pay him as much, because they've made a bunch of money on the PGA Tour, and they're gonna make less at the back end of their career. I mean, that's kind of been their business plan. The LIV, with Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood, Henrik Stenson. Even Dustin Johnson to a certain extent. He's fallen off here now. Graham McDowell. I mean, they just got a bunch of these guys, but there's a whole bunch more left on the PGA Tour. There's plenty of those guys, and they could just kind of do that same thing again. And you know what? That kind of looks like what's going to happen to me. That if I was going to make a guess, they aren't going to fold their tent. LIV. PGA Tour in letting them come in now. So now it looks to me like LIV is going to have to reload and just keep trying to push their global agenda, make their tournaments more global, where they can do better financially and get better crowds and spread the word and do it that way. And I think that's where it's headed. I mean, that kind of looks like it. And the best players won't play together but 4 times a year. But I mean, there isn't that many best players anyways. I don't know. That's not going to be a game changer for anybody. And I think the PGA Tour knows that. I think they know that that's not going to be a game changer for us. So you know what? yeah, we'll keep trying to put the pressure on them, and if they don't want to play by our rules and play our game, then we'll just keep going like we are, and they can keep spending money, and maybe eventually they'll go away. And if they don't go away, they'll just be a worldwide thing, and they'll kind of have their deal going, and we'll have our deal going, and we seem to be doing pretty good in their minds. So that's kind of where they are, and I think that's what's going to happen. That's my take on the whole situation. So I hope everybody enjoyed the podcast. I got a little Masters preview coming up for you in another day or so, and make sure you tune in for that here on nofilter.net or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also see me on the Hank Haney Podcast YouTube channel, so you can find me over there too. Hope everybody has a great day, and we will talk to you soon on the Hank Haney Podcast.